Gaming memories. I had a original Nintendo, and it was, you know, just Super Mario Brothers, which was fun. But there was a point where I was one of the few people that got Mario Brothers 3 when it came out, and that made me pretty popular in elementary school. People were just like, "Oh, can I borrow it?" But no, my parents wouldn't let it. It took a lot to get that game. They were not going to let it leave the house. I actually never considered games as a job when I was in school. I was in school for genetics, and I actually made it into med school and was there. And when it came to a summertime job, it was going to be my last summer before med school was full-time. My roommate at the time was a sound designer. Just coincidentally, the spot I got to stay at. So we did sound design for video games and movies. This was down in LA. And he asked me, "You want a summer job? Do game testing?" And I was like, all right. And after doing that, going into a studio, and this was Heavy Iron Studios at the time, it was my first exposure to what a studio was like, what it was made up of, and what the people were like. And it was the first time I was really happy to go to work. I hadn't felt that going to med school or any other job. It was the first time I was surrounded with people that I had so much in common with. So I dropped out of med school and I decided to pursue video game art and design here back in SF. I'd always done art, but I'd never considered it to be a thing I could make a career out of. I only thought of, I don't know, you make maybe graphic design, or else if you do fine arts, you're at the mercy of what people think is beautiful or not. It didn't seem like a safe or necessarily lucrative kind of work, but with the games industry, it's the best decision of my life. Like, ever since I made the decision to leave the sciences and go with the games industry, I've been happy and very successful. The games industry, well, it's great to be working in something you actually care about. I mean, at this time in my life, honestly, and I think a lot of people would say this, that you end up playing a lot less games, but I still love the industry as a whole, and hearing about games and reading about games. I'll talk to people who are playing games that I don't have time to play, and just hearing about it's really exciting. I mean, as a medium, I enjoy it like I enjoy comic books or anime. Like, it's just something really fun, and it's always entertaining. It is entertainment. It really, if you think about what's always the new technology, which lets you have opportunities to create game and gameplay. And so, for example, with your phone, suddenly you have this thing with you all the time. And this idea of being able to have short burst games you could play for a little bit, you know, when you're waiting on the bus or something, that the hardware, the new technology provided a new way to provide gaming to people. And that gaming has to adjust to that tech based off of like how it's being used. So it's really going to come down to what's the new tech and how it's being integrated. You can imagine when they move to the phones, there's going to be fun little things designed specifically for that minimal interface. You know, maybe it's somehow like a GPS scavenger hunt where you run around and it's like, you know, you just like tap it real quick. You can still do that with your phone, but there's something more freeing about a watch, and you got to think about like what are the advantages of this new platform or this new tech. Like, how can you make a game specific for it? So it's always going to really come down to, you know, consoles can only do so much more at the home. They're all trying to vie to be the one thing that's your go-to entertainment center. There's still going to be a lot of stuff around there, but for me, it's hard to even look at the console industry anymore. You have to be a behemoth. You have to have so much money to be involved with it. Even the indie scene is becoming so crowded that it's hard to put out something truly indie and have it get seen well enough. And so I think it's about just looking forward to what's the next thing coming out and really trying to figure out how can I take advantage of it. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of augmented reality type of stuff for sure. I mean, everybody thinks Google Glass looks ridiculous, but there's going to be improvements to that kind of thing. This idea of a layer of augmented reality on top of normal reality where you can create gameplay at anything you look at, anything you interact with. That and you know, putting on a giant headset and playing one of the games inside of one of those things is a little limiting, but that's also going to improve. And eventually you're just going to have games that are so immersive, it will be existence.